We're actually going to do this live, so good speaking voice. You know what I mean? And we're having a conversation, but kind of look at the camera. I mean, we can look at each other, but what's that?
Yep.
Are we live? Yep. We are live. Good morning, everybody. We are live at the 85th annual Eastern Maine Sportsmen Show at the New Balance Fieldhouse at the University of Maine in Orono. Of course, the Penobscot County Conservation Association puts this show on, and this show actually started in 1933. There was a little bit of a break during World War II and a little bit of a break during COVID. So a few years were lost, but again, this is the 85th annual. And with us today, we have Woody Higgins. He is a past president of the Penobscot County Conservation Association, and John Fahey, who is also past president of the Penobscot County Conservation Association. And Woody started his journey at this show in the late 70s, and John started in 1981, 82, I believe.
81, 82, right in that time frame?
Yep, and that all started at the Bangor Auditorium with John and Woody. So, Woody, what do you think has changed most about the show over the years?
Well, when I started and up until probably the mid '80s, it was pretty totally a men's show with sporting camps, and there was boats and trailers and campers and stuff, but it was pretty much pointed towards men, and that's been a big change that we've started probably in the mid to late 80s, where we wanted families to come and have a show that not only had hopefully some sporting camps, but also had a lot of things for kids and mom and kids and dad for the outdoors.
So, John, 1980, 81, 82, I was still in high school back then. What's one of your best memories from that time?
Wow. Well, there've been a lot of memorable events that have occurred. Some of the interactions with our vendors and some with the general public. Some good, some bad, some that you don't forget. To pick one out probably be pretty tough. I'd have to go back and check my notebook. But no, it's been a lot of great times. I think best thing about it is all the money that we raise is for conservation efforts, conservation projects, and that's what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of folks know is that Penobscot County Conservation Association does a lot of scholarships here at the University of Maine. We also do some for Husson University and their conservation law program. And when we put this show on and our other events throughout the year, the money that we raise from this show and our other events actually allow us to keep the doors open and continue those scholarship efforts. Woody, you have been involved with the University of Maine here since you started at the club in the early 70s?
Yeah, the club started the scholarship program at the University of Maine probably in the late 60s, I think, somewhere in that time frame. And started out with one scholarship for probably $200 or $300, and now we have $23,000 scholarships at Maine, and we have 3 of the same $1,000 scholarships that we just started a year ago at Husson University. Like John, we also, I just think that what we do at the show helps us fund those scholarships, and on top of the university scholarships, we also help kids at the 4-H conservation camp in Greenland Point. We donate money to them to do that. We help Maine Fish and Game in Old Town with their camp for getting kids. I think one of our primary focuses, like John said, is getting the kids involved in things outdoors, and that's how we do it. We do have a couple of days we have an ice fishing day at the club and brewer, and we have a kids day at the club and brewer where we our effort is to getting kids involved in outdoors, and we have a lot of parents who'll come to us and say, "Oh, thank you for doing this. It's so great to get the kids doing something besides looking at their phones or watching TV. We're getting them outside, fly fishing." There's a whole program of things to get kids involved in the outdoors.
Fantastic. Now, John, we actually start setting this show up on Thursday.
Yes.
You know, the general public doesn't, see that aspect of what we do here at the show. And, kind of walk us through a little bit about what you do to start on Thursday.
Yeah, on the first day, people that have been to the show or been in the field house will see that the field house floor, the basketball courts on the floor, are surrounded by a track. And on that track is where we house our larger displays, things that need to come in on Thursday to be out of the way of the smaller booths. This would be campers, little tractors, maybe a four-wheeler, side-by-side, all sorts of different boats. Those folks come in on Thursday to set up. And a few of our smaller vendors that are in the middle part of that floor will come in, because some of these guys come from out of state. Talked to a fellow this morning from Hat Trick Charters. He drives 775 miles a year to get here, and obviously 775 miles a year to go home. So we do draw some vendors from a considerable distance.
And it is really good to see that we do have those vendors that actually do travel every single year to come to this show. Yep. And it's just a testament to when things last this long, they're done right.
When Jim Scaves came here from Hat Trick, the first year we had our show here, 35 years ago, and he's come back every year. Yeah. I'm sure he enjoys himself. I'm sure he likes seeing his friends from this area, but he's also doing business or he wouldn't be doing this. He is a businessman. So it's got to be a worthwhile venture for the vendors that come to the show.
Yep. Like John said, we moved up to the University of Maine 35 years ago from the Bangor Civic Center. We found an old show book from the Bangor Civic Center show, and I was the show chairman and John was the floor manager. So 50 to 35 years later, we're both sort of still doing the same things to make this all work. Yeah. And it's a lot of pleasure, and it's great and when we moved to the Civic Center out of the Bangor Auditorium, we went away from, at that point we started having seminars. The show started to change into what we have today. And then as we moved up to the University of Maine and had the pool and more room, we were able to grow that. So over those years, the show has turned into a family show where all ages have something to do here, and we do have places where kids can go learn to tie flies, or there's several booths in the show, and we try to encourage people to come and do stuff hands-on so that kids and families can actually see.
A lot more educational product. In the old days, at the old auditorium, there was a stage, and that stage housed musical groups, dancing groups, comedians. I can remember as a 9 or 10-year-old kid going to the auditorium and seeing a man who's belly danced and smoked cigars out of his navel. So it was those kinds of things that were the highlight of the old show. Much more emphasis on education today.
Yeah, and it's one thing that really stands out about the show here is what the youth can do here. We have an archery booth set up. We have an air gun range so they can try to a pellet rifle. We have a youth area, and WLBZ comes in with big old fish, and they give out, I don't know how many fishing poles, but they give out a lot of rods and reels to youth on Saturday afternoon, and it's just been an absolute pleasure for me, kind of being the new kid on the block, coming in and see how much the show has changed in my time here. And so, Woody, you've been involved with the club. I think you come on the board in I think the early 70s. What's one of the most important things that PCCA does?
Well, I think there's no question the Sportsman Show is our biggest event. It has been over the years one of our biggest fundraisers to keep the club doing what the club does. So it's very important to us that the show succeeds, continues, and that's part of the reason why when we moved here or when we stopped having, like John said, had spend money on entertainers and things like that, and just put the money that we raised back into the club to do the projects that we enjoy doing. I think that's one of the most important things that I've seen over the 50 odd years that I've been doing this. And we do have other fundraising things that we do, but the show has been and probably still will probably mostly be our biggest fundraiser that keeps us being able to operate.
Yep. And that's another important point. We want to make sure that we thank the University of Maine for allowing us to host this show. We have some fantastic sponsors here. That the Fieldhouse sponsor is actually sponsored by Harvey RV and Marine. They have a beautiful setup here with some campers, boats, some outdoor gear, grilling equipment. They just have a beautiful, beautiful display. Hammond Lumber Company is the Wallace Pool sponsor. If most folks don't know, we actually have dogs come in. John, tell us a little bit about what the dogs do in the pool.
There's a retriever club that comes in, brings dogs every year, and these dogs do retrieving exercises. They run and jump off docks and things, and really something that the folks that partake in this enjoy. Sometimes it's a little disheartening that more people don't know about it, maybe, or find their way towards the pool, because it's really entertaining. Also have a couple of other dog groups, the North American Versatile Hunting Dog Association, and a group called Guns Up that have bird dogs primarily and retrievers. And those dogs are here. You can come and see the dogs, pet the dogs. Pretty impressive what a dog is able to do. They're a lot smarter than most people give them credit for.
Oh, well, yeah, these dogs are for sure. And if anybody's familiar with our Facebook page, we've got a lot of pictures of the dogs up there, and there's some pretty photogenic dogs. We also want to thank Hamlin Marine. We want to thank Dice Arts for sponsoring the show here, and all of our vendors. We've had such a long and successful relationship with our vendors. Woody, how do you explain some of these relationships and how they've been able to last for so long?
Well, a lot of them, I'll say, in all honesty, become personal. We know these people from obviously being here for a lot of years, and we just get along great with them. They get along with us. We work as best we can to make them happy at the show and get their booth set up and get them understanding what our audience is and what they might want to promote. I think it's just because we've been working with them for a long time, and something I always tell new vendors that come in here, these shows you're going to meet people here that you, in your outdoor industry, that you might never meet out in the general public. So don't just sit in your booth, walk around and introduce yourself, talk to people. Because like I say, you're going to meet people here that you won't meet unless you go into their business and talk to them. It's a personal show. It's a happy place, I think. Yeah.
Many of the vendors will say they go to shows all over the country, all over New England, and that they're shown where their space is on the floor, and that's the last time they see a representative from the show.
Right.
We make it a point, everybody on the committee, to know people by name, to go by, welcome them, thank them for coming, ask if there's any services we can provide for them. And sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but you help somebody out with a little bit and buy some loyalty, and those folks want to come back again and do business with us. So it's very rewarding that way.
Yep, and it really is. It's that personal touch. And Woody, you and I have talked a lot about relationships and maintaining those relationships and how you do that. And one of the things that really sticks out that you said to me is what you just said. You're going to meet folks here that maybe you wouldn't necessarily meet out in the general public.
Sure.
And
Well, you wouldn't even know who they were, really.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
And we have some amazing folks here that have dedicated their lives to improving our outdoor heritage, and it's just been amazing to be a part of. And I just, on behalf of the Penobscot County Conservation Association, on behalf of the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show, on behalf of all of our staff, all of our vendors, and all of the folks that you guys have touched over the years, we just want to thank you so much for your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To
You're
put
very welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
I think I've seen. I tried to, over the years as we changed, I guess I'll say, I paid attention to a lot of stuff besides just the vendors we have. And if I saw somebody in Bud Levitt's column or in John Holyoke's column, I might call them and find out how to get a hold of them. And I've seen a lot of the, even people we still have in the show today, that I offered a booth to at a good price to get them on their feet, and they're still coming to the show 20 years later, and they've been able to build the small business successfully and we get thank you because we let them come here and show their product or what they were doing, and not everybody succeeded. I won't say that. There's a lot of them that came and didn't make it, but there's still a fair amount that came here, snowshoe makers and different products, and they came and tried to sell their stuff, and now they're actually have a small business of their own. So that's one of the things that I really like, that looking back over 20 or 30 years and seeing, oh, well, you came here 30 years ago and you were just starting out, and now you got your own business.
Yep.
Yeah, and on setup day, be it Thursday or Friday before the show opens, the number of exhibitors that you see giving one another hugs and things that haven't maybe seen each other since last year at this show, it makes the show very, very personal.
It really does, and that's one of the things that kind of stands out, especially in this show, that I've really noticed, is that it's really a family atmosphere. And it is so true that, even though some of these vendors may not see each other throughout the year, when they get here, that's it. I mean,
It's old home week.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It
Even
really is.
competitors, I mean, they're happy to see one another. And folks,
Right.
I say that the hugging and all that goes on, that the vendors appreciate one another and happy to see each other from year to year.
And something we do is that John and I, and there's several other people, that if any of the vendors have or the public has a problem, come and talk to us. We'll do our best to work it out. I mean, sometimes we can't help them, but we don't say go away and take care of it yourself. We will work as hard as we can to make them happy and comfortable in the show. So I think that's part of how we've developed these relationships over the years. Is, like you said, we're personable. We don't sell them a booth space and say, there you are, see you later.
Yep.
We actually work with them to try to make them successful and happy in the show.
Yep. Well, again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your absolute dedication to the show.
Thank you.
To
Thank you.
PCCA.
Very
It's just been amazing for me personally. I have learned so much from both of you just by shadowing and watching what you do, and we really, really appreciate you. So with that, we want to thank our podcast sponsor, New England Mechanical Overlay. If it wasn't for New England Mechanical Overlay, we wouldn't be able to bring this podcast to you. So come on down, folks, to the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show. We're right here at the New Balance Fieldhouse in Orono. We are here until 4 o'clock today, and then after that, we will work diligently and hard to bring you back next year in March. So thank you all, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Sure.
Woody, till we were on that screen, I never knew how old the two of us looked.